Here we go. Let's do Acts chapter 20. Whoa! Now, I just asked the class right now, and I want to ask everybody who's going to be watching on the video an important question. So I'll ask my class again. Did anybody riot over the weekend?
No.
Woo! Good job. Give yourself a pat on the back for not rioting. We made it through the weekend. That's pretty cool. All right, well, let's see what happens in Acts chapter 20. And after the uproar ceased, can you see how quickly this is going into chapter 20? This isn't like several days later. After the uproar ceased, the uproar is the riot, right? Paul, having sent for the disciples and exhorted them, took leave of them. What does it mean that he took leave?
He left.
He left. And departed to go into Macedonia. We're going to do a lot of map work today, guys. Into Macedonia. And when he had gone through those parts and had given them much exhortation. What does exhortation mean? Encouragement. Encouragement. What does it mean to encourage?
To make someone feel good and happy.
Yeah.
Or
help someone do something and say you can do it.
Help them do it. Those are perfect descriptions because part of it is making them feel better, helping their heart to be okay, right? Your heart can be okay. And then you help them do it. You're giving them, you have the muscles. And so you can draw the strong. You are strong and beefy. You've got the strength to do it. Even if they're just this little boy whose other arm is like super small. And you're letting them know, no, you can do it. And that's what encouragement is. And we need to do this with each other. And Paul was doing that for the church. You can do it. Strength. Okay. So he's exhorting all the Christians that he can find. He's encouraging them. He came into Greece. And when he had spent 3 months there, and a plot was laid against him by the Jews as he was about to set sail for Syria, he determined to return through Macedonia. All right, so we're getting lots and lots of places. It's time to draw the map. I am going to go ahead and put the map up first. Let me zoom out a bit. This is the first map of Paul's trip. So the red line there is from his first trip, but I don't want us to cheat and use the red line. So that's why I'm using the red, the wrong map. Okay. So I'm going to, am I making my picture really big? Am I filling up the screen better right now?
No.
You're a little picture on the side.
Is the little picture on the side bigger or small still?
Still kind of small.
Okay, so I'll do this then.
You.
All right, now it's me. All right, so let's get this thing drawn. We need Turkey. Right, and then we need to do this connection over into Macedonia, Thrace and Macedonia, and then down through here, and there's going to be the little connection into the lower part, and it's going to go up like that, okay? And over here is the boot. Actually, the boot should be farther over, but I'm going to go ahead and put it there. And the boot, there's the boot. All right, so there's an island called Crete down here. We've got the Pointy Finger Island up there for Cyprus. I think that's all we need right now. Okay, so where was he at the very beginning of chapter 20? What city? Can you remember?
In Ephesus.
In Ephesus. Yep. Good job.
Yeah.
Ephesus is over here. And I'm just going to put an E, okay? He's in Ephesus. The first thing that he wants to do is he's going to go to Macedonia. And Macedonia is up here. I'm just going to do first letters, okay? We're just getting the sense of what he wants to do. We're not going to talk about necessarily the specific places or how to spell them. You can look it up in the Bible if you want to spell the names. He's going through Macedonia, and he's encouraging people. And so I'm just going to draw like the traveling red. And as he's going through, he's encouraging people. And then he goes through Greece. And I don't know exactly what they mean by Greece here, because for us, all of this is Greece today. I'm just going to put a big G for Greece. He's continuing down, but it might have been talking about this area down here. I'm not quite sure. And then he wants to sail to Syria. Do you know where Syria is? Is it near here?
No.
It's not. It's way over here. So he wants to sail all the way back here. Why do you think he wants to go over there to Syria? What's over there in Syria? Has he been there before?
No.
He has. He has. What is the city right around here?
His home base.
His home base. Good job. Can you remember the name of it?
No.
Antioch.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that.
Antioch. And so he's probably gonna, maybe he'll do more than Antioch, but he's probably gonna go to Antioch, right? And so what he wants to do is to sail to Antioch. Okay, I'm guessing he'd sail like that way, but he doesn't do it that way because some guys are plotting against him, and so maybe they're waiting by the boats. And so if they're waiting by the boats, I should just fly in a zeppelin, and they won't get. But he didn't have zeppelins back then, so he went. I think the idea is he went back up this way to Macedonia. Okay. And so he's not going to take the boat and get caught by those guys. He's heading back up through Macedonia. All right. Does this all make sense? You do know the little joke. They don't have zeppelins back then. I'm just trying to sound silly. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but every once in a while I try to say something a little bit silly. It's not that funny, though. I know. All right. So let's get back to reading through. And there accompanied him as far as Asia. So he's going to go towards Asia again. Sopater of Berea, son of Pyrrhus. It's basically we're going to list a bunch of names of people, okay? And I'm going to underline their places. Sopater of Berea, son of Pyrrhus, and of the Thessalonians, Aristarchus and Secundus, and Gaius of Derbe and Timothy, and of Asia, Tychicus and Trophimus. And so there's a big list of names, and what we have here is actually a list of places. So he's traveling with a big crowd of guys right now. Did you notice that? All right, so we're looking for Thessalonica and Berea. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So Thessalonica and Berea. And I'm going to erase this M of this travel. Berea is over here, and Thessalonica is up there. And so those are two of the places that he has some friends with him from. And then Derbe is all the way over here. And he has a guy from Asia. Asia is this region. Asia isn't a city, it's more of a region, okay? And all right, and those are the places that he has. So look at this map. We're filling the map with places that Paul has been to and Christians who've been from there, and they're moving around with Paul. Do you see the spread here?
Yeah.
Now, we're not writing anything about this island right now. Paul had been there before, but remember when he and Barnabas had a bit of a falling out and Paul went up through here? Don't you think that there's probably a lot going on here because of the work that Barnabas did too?
Yeah.
And so what we see here is it's just this guy, Paul. He's just walking around talking about the gospel, and look at the effect. It's just some guy talking about the gospel. Actually, it's a lot more than that, isn't it? When we talk about the gospel, we get a lot of work done. All right, let's go back to reading. But these had gone before and were waiting for us at Troas. Wait a minute. Waiting for whom? Waiting for us, it said. So now we have, again, we got Paul. And who else? If it says us, who's along with him?
Luke.
Luke. I'm going to give Luke physician's glasses this time. And a long face and a very short body, apparently. There we go. There he is. And he's got his little lab coat and his stethoscope on his ears because he's a doctor. And they didn't have stethoscopes back then. You see, I'm just doing a little funny, okay? So there's Luke, and he's got some hairs on the top of his head, and there's Paul. And so they're together now. Okay. Then they're waiting at Troas. Now we got to put Troas here. I think I remember where Troas is. Is Troas up at the top? Oh, Troas is over there. So Troas is not here. I was thinking Troas is up here. Troas is over here. So all of these buddies from Berea and Thessalonica and Asia and Derbe, they're all waiting for Paul there, and Paul is on his way around, okay? And Luke is with Paul. So there's another guy. All right, we're filling up this map. And we sailed away from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, and came unto them and to Troas in 5 days, and we tarried 7 days. All right, let's get Philippi so we can just get it on the map. I think I need to keep double checking because I keep making a lot of mistakes. But yeah, Philippi is right up there. So Paul and Luke and whoever is with Paul at that moment, they went all the way up to here. And then they're sailing to Troas. Okay. And Luke is giving us some times and some dates and some of those sorts of details, which is kind of interesting. We don't always get those details, but Luke has given us a lot of details about the timing here, and I think that that's kind of interesting. Okay. They get to Troas, and they tarried 7 days. What does tarried mean?
They stayed there.
They stayed there 7 days. Okay. So that's they stayed a whole week. Okay. And upon the first day of the week, what's the first day of the week?
The Sabbath. Sunday.
Sunday. The Sabbath is the last day of the week. So they got there. So wait a minute. Let's look at a calendar here. Okay. I'll draw I guess we have room right here. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, that's the way a calendar works. And we'll just draw this out. Now, if verse 7 is the first day of the week, I'll put that as like day 7, okay? That's verse 7, and they were there 7 days. Well, let me do it this way. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, so they were there for a week, right? It sounds like Paul arrived. We can draw Paul arriving. Paul arrived on a Monday, and then he waited until Sunday. Okay? Does it say why he waited until Sunday?
No.
No, it just says he waited until Sunday. But we're going to see what he does on Sunday, and maybe that's the reason. Upon the first day of the week, when we were gathered together to break bread, Paul discoursed with them, intending to depart on the morrow, and prolonged his speech until midnight. All right, so there's a lot of details packed in here. Thomas, you're right. There's another we. So we know that Luke is still with him. All right, they gathered together to break bread. Man, they don't like bread very much, so they were just going to break a bunch of it?
No.
Oh, bread.
No, wait. For the Sabbath, no.
What does it mean on Sunday to break bread?
Have the Lord's Supper.
To have the Lord's Supper. They're going to break bread and share it, okay? And there's a few times in the book of Acts when it's clear that breaking bread means sharing the bread for the Lord's Supper, We use that a lot in our worship. This is the time to break bread. But we get that phrase from the Bible, okay? It's not that, oh, I don't like bread, I'm going to tear up the bread. They're breaking the bread to share it. So what did they do on that Sunday?
They broke the bread.
Which means they had the Lord's Supper. They were doing the Lord's Supper. So that's one of the things that they did. All right. So they gathered together to break bread, and Paul discoursed, which is just a fancy word for he started talking. Now, when did he want to leave? On the what?
On the morrow, which means
On the morrow. So he needed to leave on Monday. It sounds like, well, why didn't he just preach on all these other days?
he probably did.
There's something different going on. Do you notice this? He's there for a whole week. And he says, I need to leave tomorrow, so I'm going to preach until midnight. Why didn't they just listen to him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday beforehand? And there's no answer in the Bible. There's no answer in the Bible. But I'm going to give you a couple of my guesses. Number one, everyone was getting together on Sunday, so he thought, that's when I will speak to them. And number two, maybe it was hard for them to get together in different times of the week. Maybe this is the one day that everybody could come together. Isn't that the way churches kind of operate today? Sunday is the big day when we can all get together, right?
Usually Sunday is.
And sometimes we do get together for other things, or we do visit our friends during the week. Sometimes you have a midweek assembly time, but Sunday is the big time when everyone really works to have the time and availability to get together and do the Lord's Supper. I think that's what Paul was doing. Look at this. We have Paul is talking until midnight. Maybe it's because I have to leave this day here, so I'm going to get all the preaching I can possibly fit in on this day when everyone gathered together to do the Lord's Supper. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there were many lights. What would a light be back then? Would a light look like this?
Would be a lantern. It would be a lantern.
Yeah, it would not be a light bulb. It would not be a light bulb. It'd be a light. And so I'm going to draw, actually, it would probably be a lamp. I like drawing candles because I think candles are fun to draw, but I'm going to draw it as a lamp because that's probably more accurate. There's a little flame and a little bit of, there. And it's providing light to the whole house. You are the light of the world. Okay. There were many lights in the upper chamber, in the upper room, where we were gathered together. And there sat in the window a certain young man named Eutychus. Have you heard about Eutychus before?
No.
Oh boy, you're going to love this one. So here he is. Here's Eutychus. Let's just draw him. And he's just a young man. Does it say he's good or bad? Nope, he's just a young man. He's sitting in the window. So you can draw like this windowsill. Apparently right underneath a lamp. He's got hair. And there he is, and he's got his hands, and he's like waving, hey, this is a good sermon, Paul, and he's just sitting there. Okay. There's the window, and it's probably like the shutters are open. I'm going to draw the shutters are open. And would it be light outside or dark outside?
Light.
If he's preaching until midnight.
Oh, sorry, dark. I meant to say dark.
Yeah. So I'm going to draw a little bit of darkness out there. They've got all the lamps on in the inside. So there it is. All right. So there he's sitting in the window. I don't know if that looks like a window to you guys, but that's what he's sitting in. Okay. He's just sitting there having a good time. Listening to Paul preach. Okay. And he was borne down with sleep. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Here's a question. Here's the question. Have you ever listened to a preacher and been borne down with sleep?
Yes. Yes. No.
I get borne down in preaching, and I'm a preacher. Poor Eutychus. I know how he feels. I know how he feels. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see if his aunt comes and pinches him on the shoulder. He was borne down with deep sleep, And as Paul discoursed yet longer, okay, so we can draw Paul. Paul is just blabbing, blah, blah, blah. He's preaching up a storm. He's got the preacher hand, like the biggest preacher hand he's ever preacher hand, right? That's just to show how much he's preaching. There he is. I'm preaching and preaching and preaching. I've got the preacher hand like you've never seen. He was discoursing yet longer, borne down by his sleep. He fell down from the third story and was taken up dead. Eutychus! Don't go to sleep in the window. Has that ever happened to you where you're just at church and you're in the window and you fall asleep and you fall 3 stories down to the ground and you're killed dead?
No, that's not happening.
No.
Sorry. Poor Eutychus. Now we got to draw Eutychus dead on the ground. Paul preached him to death.
That was one high story.
Poor Eutychus. Poor Eutychus is dead. Poor Eutychus is dead. There he is. He's all dated. All right. He's poor Eutychus. Okay. He was taken up dead, meaning they probably picked him up and carried him back into the house. I mean, you don't just leave him on the ground. That'd be kind of gross.
Oh, no, he's dead. Let's go inside and have some tea.
And Paul went down and fell on him, and embracing him said, "Make ye no more ado, for his life is in him." What did Paul do? Gave him a hug and said he's alive. And when he was gone up and had broken bread and eaten and had talked with them a long while, even till the break of day, so he departed. So Eutychus went from dead to alive. So now we can draw Eutychus alive, and he's really excited. Thank you, Paul. You preached me to death, but I'm alive now. So let's see. What did Paul do after he came back alive? Okay, when he had gone up and had broken the bread and eaten. So they did the Lord's Supper, right?
Yeah.
All right, and had talked with them a long while, even till break of day, he departed. Wait a minute here. Paul preached until midnight. He preached Eutychus dead.
And then
he raises him back from the dead. Is Paul done with his sermon yet?
No, he keeps on preaching.
Nope.
Good grief. This is a long sermon.
Little break to raise someone from the dead. Okay, back to
Yep, they just had like a 15-minute death break.
I would like to have a 15-minute dead break, like coming back to life after 15 minutes. That would be interesting.
All right. And when they brought the lad alive, this is one of the funniest Luke moments. And when they had brought the lad alive and were not a little comforted, not a little.
That means yes, a big.
Yeah, yes, a lottle comforted. How do you think everyone felt when Paul preached Eutychus to death and then they brought him back to life? Oh, we were not a little comforted. Oh, we were not a little comforted.
We
were so excited!
I mean, after watching him preach for so long, and then this guy falls out the window, dies, and then he's brought to life, and he keeps on preaching. Like, is this regular or what?
Man, that's a sermon. And so do you get the sense, it's not just, okay, remember that original question, why did they wait all those days if he needed to leave the next day? Remember that? And Paul says, okay, now that everybody's here, now I'm going to preach. And I'm going to preach starting on Sunday. And I'm not going to stop until the sun comes up Monday morning.
Well, of course there was
and there was the break. But here's the thing. Do you get the sense that this was Paul's chance? Yeah. It sounds like if he needed to say that many things, why didn't he just talk to them all week long? It sounds like it must have been this was his one chance. That also means What was the one chance they were getting ready for the Lord's Supper? Sunday? Does that make sense? Why didn't they do the Lord's Supper on Tuesday? Why didn't they do the Lord's Supper on Thursday? Sunday was the day they got together to do that. Have you ever wondered why we don't do the Lord's Supper on Tuesday? It's an interesting question.
Sunday was the day.
Because that's not the day that you get together for a Bible class.
Right. And this is one of the verses, this is one of the stories that teaches us that Sunday is the day that we do that. And that's a really neat thing to think about. This is a story that teaches us the importance of Sunday. All right, let's keep reading. We're almost done. Let's see if anybody else dies. Okay, they were not a little comforted. That's one of the funniest phrases in the whole Bible. I love it. But we, going before to the ship, set sail for Assos, and were intending to take Paul, for so he had appointed, intending himself to go by land. And when he met us at Assos, we took him in and came to Mytilene. All right, well, let's see if we can find some more places on the map. All right, so Assos is there and Mytilene. Okay, so there is a little, oh, what's the shape of it? It doesn't really matter, right? But I'm going to do it anyway. There is a little island that looks like a half moon, okay? And I think, what's the idea? Assos is here, and Mytilene is here. And so they come to here, and then they're going out to here. And where do you think he's going? Where do you think he's really going to go to? We know he always likes to get back to Antioch and probably Jerusalem. So that's probably where he's going to get to, right? That's where he always ends up, going to those kinds of places. He's got a home base, and he always seems to go to Jerusalem as well. All right, let's go back to the map, to the reading. And sailing from thence, we came the following day over against Chios. That means they went by it. We won't bother with that one. And the next day touched at Samos, and that day we came to Miletus, for Paul had determined to sail past Ephesus, that he might not have to spend time in Asia, for he was hastening, if it were possible for him, to be at Jerusalem for the day of Pentecost. What does it mean he was hastening in verse 16? He's trying to get there as fast as we can. So let's draw Paul in a boat. All right, and here he is. He's holding on, and his beard is blowing in the wind. All right, and there he is, and he's just hoping that they can sail super fast to get there in time. Okay, so again, you get the sense that Paul was in a rush, right? Paul was hurrying to get somewhere, even though he spent 7 days in that one town. He needed to leave that next day, and so this helps to me show the story that he was in a rush, and shows the importance of what Sunday must have been if he waited for that day Sunday to come. So there's the sail and the wind and the waves, not the wind and the willows, but the wind and the waves.
Hey, we have a Wind in the Willow book.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, and so there's Samos and Miletus. Let's see if we can put that on the map. Samos and Miletus. Oh, I can't. They're not even on this map. It's basically he's coming down here, and he's going to go past Ephesus. Okay. Because he can't get slowed down. If I stop in Ephesus, they're going to invite me over for dinner, and then they're going to want me to preach all night long, and then we're going to go out for McDonald's breakfast the next morning, and then I'm going to have to visit old Miss what's her name because she needs my help, and then I need to go visit brother so-and-so. He loves all these people, right? But he needs to get to Jerusalem in time for Pentecost. So he is rushing it. So he's going to go past the city of Ephesus. But the city of Ephesus has a lot of elders, important people in the church, guys who are helping to lead that church. And Paul wants to talk to them. So he's going to ask that they come to him so that he can talk with them. And then, all right, see you guys. And he's going to keep heading off so those elders can get the information and go back to the church. We're going to read the things that he says to the elders at Ephesus in our next class. So we'll be done here. All right, so we talked about different places all over on the map, and we talked about the importance of the Lord's Supper on Sunday. And you know what? I'll draw, since we talked about it, I'll draw the bread. Here's a piece of bread. Oh, can't you see? It's the most lovely piece of bread ever. It's just so bread looking. It's so bread looking. And then here is the bottle with the grape. Actually, this is looking like a magic potion bottle. It's not a magic potion bottle. It's a bottle of grape juice. It's just magic potion bottle shaped. All right, so I'll fill it with grape juice. There you go. And that would be what it is. Okay, yes, Alex, you have a question?
I want to say something. Maybe because of that story, we could call Sunday Death Day.
Well, actually, it wouldn't work.
Died.
That's true.
Night, though.
But you know what? Who stopped being dead on a Sunday?
Oh.
Jesus.
Jesus stopped being dead on a Sunday. I wonder if that's a big connection on why we have Jesus's supper meal on Sunday.
And it's a good thing that he died on Sunday and then raised on Sunday, because then you
overnight.
Like Jesus.
It commemorates how Eutychus coming back to life is a good remembrance of the life-giving power that Jesus has. It's a neat connection. So the Lord's Supper is a big part of that story, and I just think that that's a neat thing to point out. All right, I think we're going to close with that, and I'm going to let you go. I hope that you had fun. I did.
Yeah.
And I will see you guys later. See you.